If you're looking for some awesome movies or TV shows featuring teacher and student relationship movies, you just click on the right video. Get ready to dive into these amazing ones that showcase unique connections. We're excited to share this ranking with you and would love to hear your favorites in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, so you never miss out on discovering great movies and TV shows again. Number 1. Daydream Nation. Director, Michael Goldbach. Together with her father, 17-year-old Caroline Wexler moves out of the big city and into a small, remote village in the middle of nowhere. Her new school is boring and Caroline doesn't really get on with her new classmates. She only feels a connection with her teacher Mr. Anderson and decides to get attached to him and win him over. Easier said than done. The two get on wonderfully right away and often spend lovely hours together. But her classmate Thurston, who is struggling with the loss of his best friend, is also interested in Caroline. She also takes a liking to the man of the same age, and the affair with the two men develops into a love triangle of a different kind. Number 2. Goodbye First Love. Director, Mia Hansen-Løve. In the Paris winter of 1999, Camille is 15, Sullivan 19, and together they discover the emotions, pleasures and splendors of first love. A passionate and intense season that ends bitterly for Camille when Sullivan decides to travel to South America and, without much explanation, abruptly halts all communication with her. An abandonment that plunges her into a state of devastating sadness, with consequences that are not easy to escape from. 4 years later, we find Camille recovered and flourishing, fascinated by architecture, living an independent life and a new and comforting love. One day she runs into Sullivan by chance. The suffering he caused is lost in history, in time, and the new Camille is composed at this meeting. But a love during youth, a first love, is not easily forgotten, and something happens inside Camille that gets completely out of her control. Number 3. Molly Maxwell. Director, Sarah Street-Onge. 16-year-old Molly Maxwell attends an art school in Phoenix, where every student seems to be on a creative journey of self-discovery. Standing out and being individual are the motto. Molly would also rather be invisible than risk being labeled as completely ordinary. When the young, good-looking but disillusioned English teacher Ben Carter appears on the scene, Molly can really develop herself and her personality for the first time, because Ben seems to be interested in her photography. As the teacher-student relationship becomes more and more intimate, Molly believes she has finally found herself and can fulfill her potential. But the more she becomes entangled in the impossible romance, the greater the risk of becoming alienated from those she loves. Number 4. Breathe In. Director, Drake Doremus. Music teacher and ex-rock star Keith Reynolds looks back on the days of his artistic career. He clings to the few evenings in which he can play as a cellist in an orchestra. His wife Megan has a weakness for cookie tins and daughter is looking forward to her last year of high school. The family decides to take in an exchange student. Sophie is a British student and turns out to be extremely impulsive, moody and good-looking when she arrives at the Reynolds. She quickly settles in and soon puts the relationships between the family members to the test. She manages to revive Keith's hidden impulsive side and the married man feels attracted to the student. As the two get closer, family life is thrown into disarray. Number 5. Gaurav and Anna. Director, Raphael Aulet. When his marriage to almost at an end begins a torrid affair with a young French student in his writing class. The affair soon spins out of control, they're hanging in the balance. Ben is a writer turned teacher, for lack of a better term. During his years of teaching, he developed an almost obsessive interest in Chekhov's The Lady with the Little Dog, which tells the story of the transformation from adultery to true love. When his wife Audrey goes to Paris to meet the publisher of her first novel, Ben begins an affair with Mercedes, a young French-speaking student. The situation quickly gets out of control. In the end, Ben's Chekhovian fantasy will leave no one untouched. Number 6. Beyond the Mountains and Hills. Director, Eran Koloran. David is discharged from the army after serving for 27 years. He returns to his family after being distanced from them for years and tries to find himself in his new civilian life. He believes that he will find his way in some managerial position in the private sector, but he has difficulties adapting to the pace of the city, a competitive culture obsessed with success and money. More often than not, he finds himself alone at home, watching a morning TV show or listening to the radio. When a friend suggests working for a company that markets dietary supplements, he sees this as an opportunity to get his foot in the door of the business world and make something of himself. But this decision slowly gets him and his family entangled in the web of dark forces that rule life in. Number 7. Blame. Director, Quinn Shepard. The quiet and mentally unstable Abigail Gray returns to her high school for the first time in a long time after an illness and immediately finds herself exposed to the provocations of her manipulative classmate Melissa Bowman. When Abigail also gets the coveted lead role in a school play, the two young women's fronts harden again. But Melissa realizes that she has an ace up her sleeve when she notices that Abigail and the new, attractive substitute teacher Jeremy Woods are starting to get closer to each other, which is forbidden. And Melissa will use any means possible to fight her silent rival, even if that means bringing dark secrets to light. Number 8. Scarborough. Director, Barnaby Southcombe. Set in the town of Scarborough, the story follows two couples check into a rundown hotel on the seafront in Scarborough. Two of the people involved are barely 16 and the other two are their teachers. The dynamics of the teacher and student relationship is put to the test over 2 weekends in Scarborough. Couples, who sometimes laugh and have fun and sometimes argue, face the impossibility of their forbidden love in this process. Whilst it seems that the couples are aware of each other's presence, they do not interact with each other. Number 9. Cold War. Director, Paweł Pawlikowski. In 1949, during the reconstruction of Poland, composer Wiktor and his colleague Irena traveled through the mountain villages of their country with their tape recorder to look for hidden singing talent. They invite the suitable candidates to a half-ruined stately home, among them the rebellious Zula, with whom Wiktor falls in love. Zula soon becomes the focus of an ensemble founded by Wiktor, with which he wants to bring his country's art and culture back to life. But when the troupe is increasingly used for political purposes, Wiktor has had enough and uses a performance in East Berlin to escape. But Zula, who actually wanted to flee with him, does not show up as agreed, and so the two do not meet again until many years later in Paris. Number 10. The French Teacher. Director, Stefania Vasconcelos. A French teacher has her personal life transformed after she begins an affair with a student half her age. Cleo, a woman in her late 40s who is grappling with complicated personal dilemmas. Hesitantly, she begins an affair with Matthew, a student half her age. After the death of Cleo's father, her daughter Sophie returns home from New York to stay with her. The already fraught relationship between mother and daughter is intensified when a triangle emerges between Cleo, Sophie and Matthew. The present collides with the past, as long-buried family issues are unearthed in this complex, intergenerational drama.